Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln and this new way of being together. My name is the Reverend Oscar Sinclair. I'm joined in this video by members of the staff of the Unitarian Church of Lincoln. Our member and admin coordinator, Kelly Ross, is hosting the call and coordinating the technology. Our music and education directors, Bob Fusen and Chelsea Krafka, are here with readings. And our administrative director, Gene Helms, is present in the chat running next to this video. We had intended to do this live, but apparently many church services are simultaneously broadcasting their services live on YouTube. So there's a little bit of a backlog in the system. So we are doing what I am told is called live to tape. We are recording this at 9:37 and we will get it up as a recorded video as soon as we can. The chat room will run from 10 to 11. And if anything comes up during that time, Gene and probably myself will be present in the live stream to follow up. This is a new way of being together. We haven't done this yet. And while there's a lot of anxiety in the unknown, there's also possibility. We're all going to learn a lot fast about how to be a church, both together and apart at the same time. Much has changed in the last 2 weeks in our life as a community and our life in the world. But what has not changed is this church's vision, that the Unitarian Church of Lincoln aspires to be a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual experience to transform ourselves and the world. We have a big vision here. And we know that creating a loving community begins with welcome. So whether this is your first time joining this community or your 500th, if you have stumbled onto this YouTube video by accident, or you are a longtime member trying to figure out how to log on, if you come here hopeful or heartbroken, whatever your age, gender, skin color, whomever you love, you are welcome in this space that we create together. More than ever, it is important to share the warmth, love, and light of this place. So my ask to you this morning is simple. Do not keep this church, this community, as a hidden gem. Invite people to come. If you have family isolated in other parts of the world, invite them to our worship services. If you have neighbors who need someone to talk to, remember that here we preach that all have inherent worth and dignity and that we are all interconnected. Every tool we have as a church is going to be used to help people connect with each other in this time. So help us by making and building those connections yourselves. As we enter into worship in this new way, take a moment to center yourself, wherever that is, on your couch or in front of a laptop, at home. Find a comfortable place and take a few deep breaths and just pause for a moment. And let us begin. Our chalice lighting this morning, we're going to do a chalice lighting before we do the first song. Our chalice lighting this morning is by Brother Richard Hendrick, a Franciscan monk. And he wrote this in the last week. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number throughout her neighborhood so that elders may have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, the weary, All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. Wake to the choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen behind the factory noises of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming. And we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. We'll now sing our first hymn, the meditation on breathing, as I light this chalice. And if you feel moved to sing wherever you are across the empty square that is the internet this morning, but we will be together in some way in that singing together and apart. Our first reading is a poem by the Reverend Lynn Unger. Chelsea Krafka is going to read it.
What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling, give up just for now on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that's become clear. Do not reach out your hands, reach out your heart, reach out your words, reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live.
So, good time to be real for a minute. This has been a really tough week for me, for the staff, for the members of this church, for probably everybody in the entire world. And it's a week that we don't know the end of yet. I have spent sleepless nights, plural, this week, worrying about the health of people that I love, the economy, my cousin who works in a restaurant, what this will mean for the church that I love, my own health, my daughter's development. I preached my first year here, I think my first fall at the Unitarian Church of Lincoln, on the Holmes and Ray stress scale, which is a diagnostic tool that sees stressful events as cumulative and provides a way of comparing them one to the other. In the last week, regardless of whatever other stressors we have in our life, pretty much all of us can generally check off the following. Change in number of family reunions, that's a 15 on the scale. Change in social activities, that's an 18. Change in church activities, 19. Change in recreation, 19. Change in schools, 19. Change in working hours or conditions, 20. Change in living conditions, 25. Change in responsibilities at work, 29. Likely change in financial state, 38. As a straight baseline, that works out to 202 points on the Holmes and Ray scale, which works out to all of us in the entire community, simultaneously losing a spouse, getting fired, and getting pregnant at the same time, in the same moment, all together. That is the level of stress that we can say that the community is going through. And so when I tell you, and when I tell myself this week to be gentle with each other, I really mean it. That's why. We know when we're in moments of stress how easy it is to take that out on other people. And we know that that's going to happen. And we know that in moments like this, there is also grace in saying we are all going through something right now. Lynn Unger starts her poem by asking what would happen if we considered this time a Sabbath, a time of retreat, a time of tending to ourselves, a time of being gentle with our souls and those of our loved ones. Abraham Heschel was a rabbi in New York for many years. He wrote a book on the Sabbath. And it's the book is one of the greatest pieces of theology of the 20th century, but as remarkable as the book is the introduction to the volume that I have, which was written by his daughter, which is reflections on what Sabbath was like in the Heschel household, right near JTS on the upper west side of Manhattan. And she writes this: how do we bring about the elusive atmosphere that is the Sabbath? Sanctity is a quality, my father emphasized, that we create. We know what to do with space, but how do we shape sacred time? 6 days a week we live with the fury of acquisitiveness. And he writes, Shabbat renews the soul and we rediscover who we are. The Sabbath is the presence of God in the world, open to the souls of humanity. So God is not in things of space, but in moments of time. How do we perceive the presence of God? What would it mean if we took this time and instead of celebrating holy spaces, which are largely closed, we found a way to celebrate holy time, sacred time together, where we felt the presence of God or the divine or whatever language your theology uses in our lives. To set time apart. What rituals can we make now to create holy time instead of holy space? And what will we do in this time to find comfort? As this next song plays, we have a few options. This song takes the place of our offertory, so if you are a member and you are so moved to give through our online system of Realm, this is a good time to do so. And if you have things that are heavy on your heart, this is a time to share joys and sorrows in the chat box next to the video, or because this is not live, to send joys and sorrows to myself or other staff members that we can respond to. And if you want to just sit back wherever you are and listen to Sarah Jebian and Laura Weiss sing, do that. This next song is Comfort Me. Our next reading is by Reverend Deanna Van Driver, and it will be read by our music director, Bob Fusen.
Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or in foul, in good times or in tempests, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. Carnival has passed. Mardi Gras is over for another year. We are now well into Lent. In the coastal South, even faith communities that do not celebrate Lent, the time of reflection and repentance before the celebration of sacrifice and resurrection, become attuned to the Lenten rituals their Christian neighbors. In her article, Lenten Disciplines, Reverend Melody Morrill Insminger wrote, "While Lent does not have the same meaning in a Unitarian Universalist setting that it does in an Orthodox Christian context, it is not meaningless. Each and every one of us is called by God, the Spirit, our higher power, our better nature, to be our very best self, a self we often fall short of, sometimes even intentionally. Giving up something for Lent does not have to mean that we sacrifice something we love and enjoy, like chocolate, for example, but can be a healthy spiritual discipline leading to our betterment, to our reaching closer to that wholeness we all seek. Whether or not you religiously observe the season of Lent, as Unitarian Universalists, we are always called to a healthy spiritual discipline that heals the brokenness of our lives and our world. In this time of contemplation, we are invited to recenter ourselves and our spiritual communities. We are invited to ask, what's in our heart? What's our vision, our passion? What brings us joy? Where are our strongest relationships? What promises do we keep? How are we called to nurture and heal our world? In the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, may we be mindful of our moments of high resolve, that we may not forget that to which our lives are committed. Blessed be, beloveds.
Lent, in the traditional Christian interpretation, is the 40 days before Easter. 40 days of quiet contemplation reflecting the 40 days Jesus is said to have spent in the desert before beginning his ministry, or the 40 years that the Israelites spent wandering before arriving in the Promised Land. There have been two jokes that I've seen going around Facebook this week. The first is just a simple observation. I did not expect to give up so much for Lent this year. The second, observing that many churches have had to cancel their in-person Easter services, says, well, Jesus saw his shadow, so hashtag 6 more weeks of Lent. I'll say one of the things that I've given up for Lent that I did not expect to, that I miss dearly, is the thing that I have loved about serving the Unitarian Church of Lincoln, which is that when I preach, people laugh at my jokes. It's very strange to just preach to a living room without any direct feedback from the congregation. So I apologize for the next couple weeks of my jokes get worse and worse and worse as I subconsciously try to make this room laugh. But there's an interesting wrinkle to this idea of Lent. In the Hebrew and Greek world that the scriptures came out of, 40 is a marker of time that means basically a long time. During the flood, rain falls for 40 days. The Israelites wander for 40 years. Elijah walked 40 nights and 40 days to Mount Horeb. None of those mean literally 40. They mean a long time, more than a month. 40 days and nights. That is not that dissimilar from where we find ourselves now. As of this week, the board of this congregation has agreed to close our building through May 1st, exactly 40 days from now. But we don't really know the bounds of this moment that we're in. It's probably not going to be exactly 40 days, but it will be a season. And so we're going to have to find new ways of being with each other in this time. Reverend Van Driver turns to the words of Howard Thurman. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of the holy, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or in foul, in good times or in tempests, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. So here's what I'm wondering now. As we enter into this time in the wilderness of our own homes, learning how to be together while we're apart, learning how to build rituals and Sabbath into our time, as we do all that, how will we keep fresh before us the moments of our high resolve? We are a community built on principles. And if they are true principles, if what we preach and say every Sunday says something true about the world, then they will sustain us whatever tempest blows. People have inherent worth and dignity. We each find meaning in this world. We support each other in our searching and our finding, and we are all interconnected. Those things are true, and they will sustain us. The season of Lent is not about what we give up. It is about reflecting on that to which our lives are committed. I'm not going to claim that for everyone seeing this video, that is a commitment to Unitarian Universalism. I am realistic enough to know that the relationship of clergy to the faith might be different than that of our members and friends. But we do have commitments to family, to friends, to justice, to leaving the world a little better than we found it. And those commitments are still there, still here, even in this moment. And so we sing. As those wandering in the desert have before us, we are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Our closing song, once again by Not Your Mama's Hymns, who have graciously allowed us to use their music for our worship services during this time, is Wo Ya Ya.
Are going, we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Wo ya ya, wo ya ya, wo ya ya. Wo ya ya, wo ya ya, yum. Wo ya ya, yum. Wo ya ya, yum. Wo ya ya, we are going. Wo ya ya, wo ya ya, wo ya ya, we are going. Wo ya ya, wo ya ya,
So as we move to a close, just a few brief housekeeping announcements. The first is that we'll have a religious education Zoom call starting today at 11 Central Time. Chelsea will host. We'll post the link to that. If you are a parent of children in our program, you should have a link to that in your email already. The second is that we had a really great Third Thursday worship this week. We gathered on Zoom. We had 60 people on Zoom at one point. And we had some time to check in with each other, to go into breakout groups and really connect and say and ask how we're doing. That went well enough, in fact, that I can say pretty firmly that we are ending the third Thursday program for the duration and starting a Thursday night program for the foreseeable future. So in some form or another, we will gather on Zoom on Thursday nights for the next couple weeks. The next thing is that the board met this week to close the building through May 1st and to evaluate the situation on an ongoing basis. So we're going to be in this for a while. This isn't just a one-time thing where we do worship online one Sunday to see if we can do it. This is going to be the new normal for a little while. But through it, in this new form, we're going to remain a community. So look for daily announcements, reach out to each other, get on Realm, and look up phone numbers. Get on the phone, get on Zoom, connect, connect, connect. That's what we do now. We now draw this time together to a close. Our closing reading, as we extinguish the chalice, is a reading by the poet John O'Donohue. It is a blessing for solitude. May you recognize in your life the presence, power, and light of your soul. May you realize that you are never alone, that your soul in its brightness and belonging connects you intimately with the rhythm of the universe. May you have respect for your own individuality and difference. May you realize that the shape of your soul is unique, that you have a special destiny here, that behind the facade of your life there is something beautiful, good, and eternal happening. May you learn to see yourself with the same delight, pride, and expectation with which God sees in you every moment. Be at peace, beloveds, and amen.